Hey guys, and welcome to this next video. Today is all about sight reading and how you can read your notes faster, okay? So some people are just naturally good at it. In my case, I wasn't, okay? So I was not that bad, but still I had to find my way. And so I want to share my tips and tricks how you can read the notes faster, okay? So let's start. The first thing I always tell my students to do, if you have your music piece, okay? So let's take this one here. I have now Titanic, My Heart Will Go On. I think you know this one here. Yeah, it's very famous. And the first thing I always tell my students to take your sheet music and take a pencil, and then you have to see that you kind of have an overview over your music piece, okay? And then you see, oh, do we have any flats or sharps in this music piece, okay? So you go to the beginning here and you see, okay, we have a B flat. And then I go through the whole piece and I look for all my B flats, okay? And I circle them, so that it's easier for me to play it after, because now already, okay, here I have to play the flat, okay? And also don't forget the left hand, okay? Okay, so, and when you've done that, then I look for patterns, okay? So I divide the music piece into sections and I look for patterns. For example, I see in the second line, here, this one here, the thing I just marked green. So this way, you know the first one is the B flat, okay? And you see, okay, the next note is in between the lines. And then the next note is on the line and then again in between the lines. So they have to go down one note at a time. So it must be something like this. Okay, so our brain that way doesn't have to think of each note separately, but you know the first note and then you can basically guess the other note, okay? Do you know what I mean? And you can try and find some of those patterns, okay? The next thing I always tell my students is to find an anchor note. So a note that you come across very often in your music piece, okay? For example, in this one here, in this music piece, I'd say we have a lot of times the F here. So for example, the music piece starts with the F, and in the second bar you already have another F, and in the fourth bar there's also an F. And it continues. There are lots of other Fs and you can also mark them if you want to. But that way you know, okay, here's my safe spot. I know that one, that's the F, okay? And then there are just the notes in between, okay? So always find your anchor note. Of course, that one is different in each music piece, okay? The next tip I want to share with you is always use finger numbers, okay? And sometimes you have recommendations in your music sheet. In this one here, we don't have any finger numbers now. So what do you do now? You start somewhere on the F, okay? And then you are not sure which finger you should use, okay? And then you have to look for the next note, okay? So the next note here in this music piece would be the G. And also the next one is another G, and the next one is an A, okay? So it would be probably smart to start with your thumb so that you can easily go up, okay? Because if you would use, for example, let's say your fourth finger, you have a problem after you reach the G because you cannot get up anymore, okay? So look for the first note and then see what comes after and what's practical with your hands, okay? The last tip I want to give you is you can also look for jumps, okay? So, for example, let's see what we have here. If you have a jump like in the first line, in the second bar, like this one here, okay? And you're not sure which notes to press, okay? So you see the first note, okay, you can figure that out, that's a G, okay? You can also remember this note very easily actually, because this one here, the treble clef, is actually also called G clef, because it starts here on this line, on the second line, and that's why on the second line there's the G. So you know this one is the G, right? But then you don't know, okay, the other note, it's kind of a wide jump, I would say, but you can remember. See that the G is on the line, and then the next note is not on the line, it's in between the lines. But it's not the next note, but it's somewhere far up, okay? And always if you have a note on the line and then there's a jump, not quite super far, but quite far already, like this one here, then you can remember it's 4 notes up, okay? So if you play, for example, the G with your thumb, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4. And with your 4th finger, that's the note. Okay, so you can always remember this interval, okay? So if you have a note on the line and the next one is in between the lines, and it's kind of a middle range jump, I would call it now, and then you know it's 4 steps, okay? So let's see if you have another one of this one here. Yes, in the second line, for example, in the second bar, second line, second bar, for example, we also have actually the same notes, but it's the same jump, okay? So we also have G and C. And also at the end, we actually have the same jump from the C to the G, okay? Let's see if you have another one with other notes. Yes, for example, in the third line, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th, from the 4th to the 5th bar, okay? The F to the C, okay, the jump that goes down. We also have here a note that is in between the lines, and then the next note is on the line. And it's also here not a very, very far jump, but it's also not very close, just in the middle. And you can remember also, these are also 4 steps. So in this case, it's the F where we start, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just press your thumb. So in this case, it would be the C. Yes, and that's how you can start with your sheet music and put your little notes in it, okay? And you can also write your finger numbers in it, okay? That's very important that the finger numbers that you figured out, put them in so you remember them, okay? And then it's easier for you and for your muscle memory and to know which notes to press, okay? Yes, that's it already. Last advice, take a music piece that is a little bit easier than your usual level at the moment, okay? Because then you stay motivated and then it's actually fun to practice sight reading, okay? Yes, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a thumb up and subscribe. And I would say I see you in the next video. Bye!